At this time of the day, everything takes a deep breath. So we often find that we pull away from the lions or the buffalo and sit in the sunset, just sort of soaking it up and enjoying that relief from the intense heat and into the rather cooling evening. And we find that animals do exactly the same.
But we are always ready and waiting and watching, even as we're driving back to the camp at night time. Just have the spotlight out in case we come across a new lion in the area. It's really telling a story, constantly looking and searching.
Sometimes the only way for us to get home is to head across that swamp and across the wetland that's behind Beverly in this sequence. And I think that we get stuck every 2 or 3 days basically, and it's can get hectic. And out there, I know that this time of the evening, tons of mosquitoes, tons of stuff going on.
These early mornings where there's mist out are absolutely exquisite and beautiful.
Favorite time for us, I
absolutely,
think, yeah.
And it's always magical if you see a cat, walking out of the mist coming towards us.
Obviously, we haven't seen a cat this day.
Yeah, that's true.
So crossing, sometimes we know we can't get a vehicle across, or it might be too disturbing to get a vehicle across and we've got to lug our cameras. Very often we walk these channels to make sure that the ground is solid, and then we'll know we can take the vehicle across.
But I can tell you, walking the channels can be a little tricky because there are leeches in this water. And often you come out on the other side and there's a swollen leech that's already had a mouthful of your blood and you've got to get it off your body.
In this case, I'd consider this a crossing we could easily make with the vehicle. There was a soft patch where Beverly went through the middle. But that's very often we're up to chest height going through and then testing it before we take the vehicle across.
And as you see, we always have our cameras with us because we never know what's going to be, on the other side. So it's always better to rather carry them and be prepared. And then this is really returning home. With the swamp through the winter months, it's incredibly flooded. And so our whole island is completely flooded. So we have to drive through a lot of water to return back to our tent.
It's the only access to our camp most of the year is through this river. Notice the broken windscreen. We often falling into holes and getting bashed around quite heavily. And the other thing is often climbing up onto the vehicle, using it as a massive tripod. And I think in this case, on this vehicle, I stood on the windscreen and broke the glass. But I've got more spare parts for these vehicles than you realize, because something's always dropping off.